Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mark and Andre Show, episode 77, Dunkirk and the Selfish Suicide. How beautiful love can be on the streets, love is hard to see. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for tuning in to another great episode of the Mark and Andre Show. This is episode 77, Dunkirk movie review and the Selfish Suicide. For those that don't know, this is the Mark and Andre Show, the only film, entertainment, and conspiracy theory podcast on Spreaker.com. It is Friday, July 21st, I believe. I'm not really good with dates sometimes. I tend to forget people's birthdays, anniversaries. If it wasn't for Facebook, a lot of people would be forgetting things. Trust me. Tonight's topics. We're going to be talking about the Dunkirk movie by Christopher Nolan. We're also going to be discussing the suicide of Chester Bennington. For those that don't know, the lead singer of Linkin Park, Chester Bennington, passed away via suicide, self-inflicted suicide, and we're going to be discussing that. And I'm going to get into a lot of key points with that topic as well. We're also going to be discussing the Rocko's Modern Life television special, the brief snippet that you were able to get at Comic-Con, and some more good news along the way. So, I was able to get the Comic-Con, the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive clip of the Rocko's Modern Life reboot. And needless to say, the animation looks great. It's amped up for the new millennium. The voice actors are back. A couple things to note. Everyone sounds the same, but Heifer doesn't sound as youthful as he used to. But granted that Rocko's Modern Life is running off of about 23 years ago that it actually began its first initial run in 1993 or 94, I believe. As a lot of people may know, my Instagram name is Mark F's Modern Life, so it goes without saying that this show itself, this whole series as a whole, impacted my life. I thought Rocko's Modern Life was, when I was a kid, I thought it was very funny. It's still entertaining today. There's a lot of inside jokes that you're still able to get to this day. And to me, if a show can span decades with that same person as that person gets older, that to me secures that show's spot into a certain, not a certain Hall of Fame, but more along the lines of it being achieving legendary status. Rocko's Modern Life, without question, is probably one of the most underrated Nickelodeon Nicktoons. It only lasted 4 seasons, plus the Christmas special, but nonetheless, a lot of people talk about that versus shows that lasted longer. But other than that, nonetheless, I'm still excited to see another reboot of Rocko's Modern Life. Like I mentioned before, the animation to this looks really nice. Everything's got a new 2017 paint job. There's a lot of, I suggest you guys watch the trailer. I like to keep everything spoiler free. So for people that haven't seen it, please go on YouTube. It's available on YouTube for you to watch and peruse. So feel free to go and check that out. So, besides that, I started this show late simply because of one reason, and I'm going to spill my guts out on it. One of my friends, he actually lives in New Mexico now. He used to go to the trade events that we used to have here in California, but he recently moved to New Mexico. He posted on Instagram that they're taking pre-orders for the SNES Classic. So, needless to say, the way I work, I like to buy things and to make money and keep things and have the other thing that I buy pay for that other thing. So I bought I just pre-ordered 2 SNES Classics, and then after I secured my pre-order, I was able to give the news to other people. So in this world of business and commerce, I kind of take the founder approach. As you know, the founder of McDonald's kind of screwed over the McDonald's brothers. And yeah, I just got to make sure I get mines first. So after I secured my pre-order of the two consoles, I made sure to share the news to the other to my other retro collective constituents. But I see everyone else is spreading the news for me, so I don't really have to do it. There's a lot more saints out there than me. And I even covered the fact that no one in the retro community is a saint anyway, so I'm just being honest. Just being honest with you guys that we're all fucking scum. Doesn't matter. But other than that, I want to get into this Dunkirk movie review because it's not often that we're able to talk about a director that comes out with a movie about every 2 years. So about every 2 years since The Prestige, Christopher Nolan has came out with a movie, and he doesn't do them consecutively. He's not. He's real methodical in his process. Each movie that he makes is extremely dense. In terms of not necessarily dialogue, but the storytelling behind it. And he's done films based on superheroes. He's done films based on magicians. He's done films based on murderers. He's also made a good psychological thriller in Daylight. And Daylight. Fuck, I was thinking of the Stallone flick. Yeah, he directed Daylight with Stallone. Yeah, it's Christopher Nolan. No, I'm thinking of Insomnia with Hilary Swank, Al Pacino, and Robin Williams. So when I was watching the beginning of when I was watching Dunkirk today, I was watching it. I was able to cop a matinee ticket before the price almost doubled, and needless to say, man, he being Christopher Nolan impresses me every single time. It's like Christopher Nolan could get any genre, put his signature on it, and make it something new again. He's taken the war genre in Dunkirk and made it something that we haven't seen, I want to say ever. I mean, I'm really well versed in war movies, and I've never seen a story done like this where there's 3 different story arcs with 5 stories total, and each of them intertwine within each other within a war story. So it's kind of like Crash, but with a war story to it. Not as cerebral as Crash is, but it still has stories interwoven within one another. This movie was shot alongside a beach coast, and the story behind Dunkirk is that during World War I, the people on the island, army battalions within the island of Dunkirk needed to be evacuated before more air raids were going to keep just killing them. But the British Navy wanted to shy away from bringing a whole fleet of destroyers to pick these 400,000 plus people up, because they wanted to save that same fleet of destroyers for the next military move. So basically, think of it as like a chessboard, to where the British Army and the British Navy don't want to advance their chess pieces for a few pawns, because they still need the rooks. They still need the king and queen, to make more advanced moves. Think of it like that. They want to save it, and they think that they want to save their destroyers because the military privates and foot soldiers are, to their eyes, expendable. Now, the good of this movie, and there's a lot of good within this film, Dunkirk. One thing that I look for when I'm reviewing a film is, how well does this film immerse me? There's been times where I go into a film and I get easily distracted by the outside world. And that's not saying that I come in with a bunch of baggage and watch the film and get distracted. No, when I go into a movie theater, my phone stays off. It's on silent. I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. Every film. I paid money to see it. I'm in it. But there's times where I'm just like, oh, wait, did I do this? Did I do this? Something from my social life or something from my professional life comes up as to my mind. And a good movie barely does that to me. And with Dunkirk, I want to let you guys know is that I wasn't that distracted at all. This film immersed me into the situation that they had to deal with. And with the way Christopher Nolan actually directed this film, you kind of feel like you're immersed so much that you kind of feel like you're one of the soldiers. There's this ominous hum, and with when you're inside a scene with inside one of the ships. There's a ticking sound every time you're in one of the flyers in the story arc where Tom Hardy plays ace pilot. There is the crashing of the waves and explosions when you're on the beach shore in this movie, and add that to the psychology of throughout this movie. 90% of it is shot on sand, water, or in the air, and you get nothing else. So you are completely into this movie, and you're like, wow, now I know how it feels to be a soldier within this. There's no other scenes besides the ending scene, but I'm not going to spoil that for you there. But throughout this whole movie, you are in the position of one of these soldiers, and the psychological trauma that goes with being a soldier is kind of passed on to you, because there's a lot of military-esque jump scares where there's explosions and stuff of that nature, and you jump up because you feel that immersed within this movie. And that's a great plus that a lot of war movies kind of tend to forget, is to leave you immersed as one of the soldiers, or leave you immersed inside the storyline. But that's a big plus that Dunkirk gets from me. It's hard to duplicate stories like that to where you feel like you're within the movie itself. Like I mentioned, also, the film branches into 3 main stories with 5 story arcs total, each intertwining amongst each other. Christopher Nolan also made this movie more about the journey of a few soldiers rather than the campaign of World War I itself. A lot of directors like to puff their chest and let you know that they know about the history of the war, and maybe stuff that you didn't know. Christopher Nolan is taking this war campaign and solely focusing it within Dunkirk. The title alone should give it away, but sometimes with a story like Inglourious Bastards, where it was just a story about assassinating Hitler. That was the main agenda. They didn't focus on anything else but that. Dunkirk takes the same approach. A film that doesn't do this kind of treatment to a film is, let me think, Saving Private Ryan, where they mention that certain Allied troops retreat during certain portions of the movie, and they also mention certain war scenes within it as well. I'm not saying that Saving Private Ryan isn't a good movie in its sort, but the agenda that Christopher Nolan wanted to put across in this film in Dunkirk is that this is about Dunkirk, and we're going to keep it focused on that. And that's a big plus, because it's just about this. It's about this particular moment in World War I history, nothing else. So it keeps you focused within that, and it doesn't make you think about other things within World War I. So there's, as far as bad within this movie, the only thing that I got is during the transcommunication between 2 of the fighter pilots, one being Tom Hardy and the other being another character, is that there was a little not feedback, but there was communication between the 2 pilots that sometimes went unheard. Besides that, the only thing that some people may have a bad point about this movie, but with me it wasn't, is that the stories intertwine, and there's scenes where it's going to be dark, one moment inside a ship or even outside a ship, and the next moment you're going to be back in the skies with Tom Hardy at a different point within the movie. So the timeline kind of flips around like Pulp Fiction, but less like Pulp Fiction. But I mean, it still intertwines nonetheless. As far as anything else bad to it, I mean, I'm going to sound like a Christopher Nolan fanboy, but partly because I am, but there's very little bad to say about this movie. It's a great war flick. You guys will definitely enjoy it. I myself enjoyed it, and me personally, because I've always enjoyed history regarding World War I and World War II. I mean, it's a big treat because I was not well versed within the story of Dunkirk, and to learn about the fact that just the island itself played a critical part in the campaign of World War I is very impressive in itself. Especially the fact that it was an important strategical landmass to take over, and it's a lot of German soldiers are trying to take it over, and the French and the English forces are trying to make sure that this island stays secure. But pending German advancement, that's the only thing that these guys are scared about within Dunkirk. And nonetheless, I could just tell you that I was thoroughly impressed. You guys will enjoy this movie. I guarantee it. With me, it's teetering on about an 8.5, 9 out of 10. This film is incredible. You guys will enjoy it. Please do yourself a favor and watch it in IMAX. I did myself a disservice by watching it on a regular screen. Christopher Nolan shoots in IMAX, and he has for a long time. So make sure you guys do yourself the privilege and watch it in IMAX. Once again, you guys are listening to the Mark and Andre Show. This is episode 77 with the Dunkirk movie review and the selfish suicide. I'm going to be talking about the suicide of Linkin Park frontman Chester Bennington in just a few short seconds. But I want to let you guys know, please tune in to Lyricology 101 on our co-host Andre Gaynor, who is currently unavailable at this moment. He has a YouTube channel where he breaks down hip-hop songs, and he teaches you guys how to be better rappers. He's done it for almost 10 plus years, and let's put it this way. I got him starting into writing rhymes and stuff, and he completely took off. He blew me out of the water 4 years into it, and it's good. And I like to see him grow within Lyricology 101. He's not here to do his own shameless promotion, but I wanted to get the shameless promotion out of the way mid-segment. That way it brought a little tone shift to the next topic that I'm going to be discussing. So, Chester Bennington, Linkin Park frontman, a couple days ago passed away. And the world's sad. In the same tone as when Richie Valens, the Big Bopper, died in the plane crash, when Kurt Cobain committed suicide, when Jim Morrison was found dead in his tub, when Jimi Hendrix was found dead on a couch from his own vomit. A lot of things come along the way with musicians and suicide, and mainly a lot of people like to encompass the whole suicide genre with depression. And you can, to a certain degree, you can say that it is depression that affects some of these artists. Some may say that the reason that these artists make music is to alleviate the pain within themselves and to make music to make other people happy. To make other people happy because within themselves they are suffering inside. The same note goes with comedians, to where they like to make people laugh because deep within themselves they are miserable human beings. And it goes with me too. I mean, even with me, like, my mantra throughout my daily life is to make people happy or to make people laugh. I think my job on earth has been to make people laugh, because sometimes within myself I lack confidence and I lack the ability to maintain my confidence, and sometimes I lapse within it. But then I know that for sure, like, if I'm able to get back in I know the way I'm able to get back into the swing of things is to, go with a couple friends and just have a couple jokes here and there. something along those lines. And I wanted to make sure to find common ground with what we're going to be dealing with, because Chester Bennington made great music with Linkin Park. He made fantastic music. He was one of the most unique voices in the history of rock and roll. I mean, the way he was able to sing a chorus is something unprecedented, because he was still able to make it sound melodic. He was still able to be coherent as far as the way because he's kind of Chester Bennington was kind of teetering on the screamo, like was volume and with his timbre of his voice, but still, man, he was an incredible voice to be had, and it's unfortunate, very unfortunate, that he decided to take his own life. But let me get into this subject that I want to talk about. I call this the selfish suicide because it's like this. A lot of people think that the idea of someone taking their own life is selfish within itself. To a certain degree, you may find confidence in believing that. But look at the other side of the coin and see where see how the other shoe fits on the other foot on another person. You know what I mean? So take your perspective and take it to another person. So, like, I'm not gonna take Chester Bennington's story for example, but I'm gonna leave just a hypothetical situation. Say, person A is a successful hip hop artist, and throughout his or her career, there's been times where he or she has been making great music, platinum albums left and right, and they always tell you that they're happy, they're enjoying themselves, they're always smiling, they're always in a positive light. And one day you end up hearing about that said hip-hop artist killing themselves. Somewhere along the way, someone's going to blame, oh man, that person's selfish because he or she took his own life. But maybe it's like this. I want to bring shout out to my friend Jerry Herring from Kill the Podcast for bringing light into this situation. And I'm not going to take his whole example verbatim, but I'm going to take a few points that I found about it and basically summarize what he said. So imagine that person deep within himself, his or herself, was feeling a pain that was slow in the beginning, and it was less painful, but throughout their life, as they're trying to find treatments, the doctor, or even if they did holistically, the doctor says, here, take medication, or even if they did it through a holistic method, they found themselves still with that same pain. They keep going throughout their lives. They keep releasing music, and they keep going throughout their lives. And that pain gets more intense within themselves, because it's hard to describe depression to another person of how you personally feel. So I'm using this as a mere example. So that pain gets more intense and more intense and more intense, till one day you decide, wow, this is really taking my life so much that this is becoming so painful within my life that I'm going to end it, because I cannot take this anymore. Think of it as an undying pain within yourself, that some people have no choice but to end their own life. Is it selfish for that person to decide to take their own life based on within their own pain, which may be the equivalent of someone getting or someone stabbing them and them leaking in pain with a bloody wound throughout the rest of their life? The pain may be on par with that. You don't know. You don't live that life of Chester Bennington or Kurt Cobain or whoever else who's went away by method of suicide. You don't know their pain, and it's unfortunate for people to take their own lives like that. But at the end of the day, we don't understand what goes on within them. We don't understand their pain, guys, and to put more emphasis on this is like, It's to bring it just like this, ladies and gentlemen. Who is the selfish person? Is it the person taking their own life because of their own pain that is irreversible, that is that something that they cannot fix within themselves? Or is it selfish for the person that enjoyed said person's music to be like, oh shit, man, why did he take his life? Fuck, I wanted to hear more music from him. I don't care about how he felt. I don't care about how he or she felt on the inside. I still wanted to hear more music from them because I'm not content within myself, and I need him or her to self-satisfy me with the music that they have. The selfish person in that situation with that kind of argument is the person making that fucking argument. And it's clear as day, guys. It's just, we don't know how people feel within themselves when they do take their lives. But the best thing that we can do throughout everyone's life, and whether or not you think they have suicidal tendencies or whether or not you feel like they're going through a thing of depression, try your best to make yourself become not selfish, but selfless. There's been plenty of times where I personally have felt like I have been selfish. A lot of relationships have went the wayside because I was selfish. A lot of friendships have went by the wayside because I've been selfish. The last couple of years, I've slowly become a lot more selfless. Granted, there's times where it may seem that I may be selfish, but it's only because I want to make money, or is it only because I want to do things that I feel that are going to benefit me, either financially or for my well-being. Sometimes it may seem that some person is selfish because of that. But yes, it's you within yourself. Don't think of this Chester Bennington suicide as a selfish act on his part, or even the suicide of Chris Cornell. Don't blame Chris for that, because you don't know the pain that they were dealing with. You don't know the pain that Robin Williams was dealing with, who on his birthday's today, he would have been 66. We're dealing with a lot of things coming along the way, and it's unfortunate we have to deal with more musicians passing away, but the only thing that we can do now is remember them for the music that they had. Remember all the good times that you guys had when you guys were listening to Linkin Park. You know, the Hybrid Theory. I was playing that nonstop. A lot of songs on there that are definite classics. You're going to be hearing Linkin Park for a long, long time because they have a unique sound, and Chester Bennington had a unique voice. Chester Bennington has a unique voice. And I say that in the present tense as if he were here, because the benefit that us humans have on this earth is the technology to listen to someone that is now dead. We can hear them alive and well within the music that they have for us, that they made for us. So they weren't selfless. They weren't selfish. They were indeed selfless because they spent all that time. Yeah, they made a check, but the fact is that they were talented. But they went on tour. They went and did music videos. They did all those albums. They could have quit and been selfish. No, they were selfless. They wanted to make sure all their fans got their just desserts. To say that an artist that sacrifices their time to get fans in the seats, to get fans in the arena, to get people to watch their movies, to say that they are selfish is bullshit. Complete bullshit. Indeed, they are selfless. So a suicide isn't a selfish act, guys. In some regard, when a musician in particular commits suicide, it's not a selfish act. Don't think of it like that. Just remember, and I want to bring emphasis to this, is that you don't know the pain that they had to deal with. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for listening to episode 77 of the Mark and Andre Show. In this episode, we learned that Dunkirk is a great movie, and I definitely recommend you guys to watch it. Also, the SNES Classic is available for pre-order via Walmart.com. I myself copped 2 of them, so you best to cop yours, and probably cop another one. That way that first one gets paid for itself when you flip it on eBay. Also, the Rocko's Modern Life show special looks very impressive itself, and we also learned that a suicide from a famous musician or suicide from a famous person in general isn't a selfish act. I'm Mark Flores, and remember guys, take care of yourselves and each other.